Years now, if you have children who are sophomores, juniors, seniors in high school, the college application process has likely already begun or will soon. That process will be very different than in years past.
All due to COVID-19, of course, and we're breaking that down with you now and what you need to know about how colleges and universities are altering requirements for incoming freshmen and how the changes may work in your family's favor.
Dr. Cynthia Colon joins us now, and I know there are a lot of debates on both sides of this. Parents saying, could this actually be helpful for our kids? Are there fewer people applying? And are the colleges so interested in getting the financial input from all of this that they're going to let more people in? What would your response to that be?
Oh my goodness. Good morning. Well, it's good morning here in LA. But I wanted to say there are a couple of things. Yes, the rumors are out there that colleges are scrambling for applicants, and we just don't know that. And my prediction is that more students are going to be applying to college this year because of the two words, test optional. With over 1,400 colleges saying that that is not a requirement for admission this year, many, you're right, Dina, many will think for the class of 2021, this is the year to apply to that college that was just outside of my reach. A year ago, maybe students would have not put that college on their list, but this year there's an opportunity for that. So I would say for seniors, add one or two colleges, and for sophomores and juniors, start showing interest in your dream colleges, for sure. That would be my sort of first step.
That's interesting. I read that your advice was even for sophomores to start courting colleges. In what way? Be more specific about that.
Oh, I love this question. So it's very it's advantageous to any student to get on mailing lists and reach out, start what I call sort of speed dating or going on coffee dates, doing a little bit of webinars, and just showing your interest. Because honestly, when you start getting that, what I call love mail, that email, that is really, if you open up those emails, colleges are tracking your interest by how often you open up those emails. So it's never too early to start a sort of, like I said, courting colleges. It's a two-way street when it comes, you're getting mail from them and they want to hear from you. They have egos too. So yeah, that's a good little pointer that most people don't know about.
I've got a sophomore. I'm taking this video and I'm sending it to her as soon as we're finished with this interview. The other thing that you mentioned is testing optional. Some people are cheering about that. They have such a difficult time with testing. Other people do very well in testing. What is going to be the new parameter? Is it going to be the essay that they write? You know, how are you really going to set yourself apart?
Well, so the truth is that essays have always played a major role in differentiating students that are already academically qualified. So with the piece of test optional, or for many students, they will be missing the quantifiable piece of the test. So at the end of the day, students are applying to college, which is school, and you want to see what kind of student you are. So they'll be looking to other things like looking at AP scores. Maybe even some colleges may take PSAT scores. But honestly, at the end of the day, the rigor of your course curriculum, honors and AP, IB courses, and the grades you receive in those will likely carry the day, not only this year, but for the next couple of years. Sort of the writing is on the wall. So I would say for seniors, really think about, okay, this is not a time to get senioritis. Focus on those grades this semester because it's going to be the tipping point, but also in combination with really what's the story I need to tell about myself and how can I stand out in an application. So so the grades and the essays, and then for sophomores and juniors, it really is get as many AP and honors courses as you can now for later.
There are so many tentacles to this, but it's so different than what we've known. This is great advice. Dr. Colon's book is called Tips, Tales, and Truths for Teens, and she'll have more information in her podcast this week. If you want information, check out drcynthiacolon.com. We're back in a few minutes with the Midday News at Last Monday, we talked about the changes for the college admissions process amid the pandemic. Today's topic for parents and college-bound teens, why this may be the best time to encourage more students from under-resourced communities to apply. Dr. Cynthia Colon joins us now. She's an author and host of the national weekly podcast, Destination University. Thanks for being here. You have such great advice, and I know so many schools had to pivot amid the pandemic. And one of the things that you are saying is this is really a perfect opportunity for students to be innovative and come up with new ideas and really come together from varying communities. Do you have examples of how? Because people can always use marching orders.
Right. Thanks. Hi, Dina. Good morning. Well, good morning from LA. Listen, I was taught when I worked at Vassar College to look at an applicant and think, given the students' resources, what did they do? What did they accomplish? And right now, it's never been a better time to be innovative and solution-oriented instead of dwelling on the problems. So what I say is, no matter your background, think about what are you doing really that's causing an impact. How are you leaving an impact in your family, in your neighborhood, in your school, whatever that may be? So the examples I can give is, for someone, I have a student who is one of 8 children. So she said, I don't have time to learn another language, but she has time and she needs to be helping with laundry or dinner, or helping get this, all her siblings oriented for school. So that's how she's leaving an impact in her family. Another student I worked with has a family business, or is part of the family business. So think about what you're doing given your situation right now. How is COVID affecting your life? And think about how are you leaving an impact either in your neighborhood with elderly, with the elderly community, helping with run errands or get groceries. So really think about, given my resources, what am I doing to help others around me? And that's a way to stand out.
And everyone is complaining about 2020, but I know college admissions staff are looking at the people who say, oh boy, I have a unique way to help to make this world a better place right now. And it can be something small like doing laundry.
It can be. And listen, it's not even just COVID. I mean, COVID is what we sort of started with in March, but think about the BLM movement. This is a presidential election. There's a lot of ways to share your own character and your personal values, what you value, what you enjoy spending time doing, and really going after that with grit. So school getting started now in the next week or so for Chicago. Think about, for families, I want them to think about not only how is a student going to spend their 6 hours in doing academic rigor, but outside of that, ask your student, ask your teen, what do you love doing? What would you do for 5 hours a week if you could do anything? And have them consider how they're going to get at that and attack that. Again, BLM, presidential election, systemic racism, COVID. There are lots of problems. You've got to be solution-oriented, and that will come across in an application 4 months from now or 2 years from now.
And so many young people are writing about it on social media, how they've been impacted by this pandemic, but also how they've been inspired. And you say this is great fuel for a college essay.
This is, I mean, listen, whatever you're doing and however you're spending your time, that's your essay, that's what you're writing right now. So whether you're a sophomore or a junior or a senior, what you're doing now to, again, be solution-oriented, thinking about how am I solving problems, how am I leaving an impact, that's gold on the ground. And listen, not every essay is going to be about COVID, right? We'll get COVID fatigue in those essays. It's not really about that. It's about taking this time and looking back on 2020 and saying, I was solution-oriented instead of dwelling on the problems. And again, that is going to be gold on the ground as colleges are looking to not widen the gap, but really find students who are going to bring solutions to the table.
Do you have a good way to inspire kids? Because I know as a parent now, I'm telling them, don't really go out with your friends and stay inside. I want them to stay safe. But at the same time, I don't want them to get into that, okay, I'm inside, I'm going to look on social media.
One of the things I am thinking about so much is the reason that parents and teenagers are wishing they would go back to school is because school provides a learning environment, structure, and a plan of action for 6 to 7 hours a day. And we're missing that. So one thing that I would really advise is to take this week to set yourself up for success. Provide an environment for, whether it's a corner in the room where they're uninterrupted, but get a plan of action, get a planner, literally, posters on the wall, do what you need to do to create an environment that will set you up for success. That's what we miss most.
Exactly. It's such great advice, and I know you're talking at length about it. Dr. Colon's book is called Tips, Tales, and Truths for Teens, and she'll have more information on her podcast this week. If you want more information, check out drcynthiacolon.com. In today's Midday Fix, our final segment in a series tackling the concerns parents and students may have when it comes to applying for colleges during this pandemic. Today, we're focusing on how to be proactive and stay ahead of the application game. Dr. Cynthia Colon is back. There is so much information here. I've already had 3 kids go through college, and I didn't know a lot of this stuff, so let's get right to it. One of the things that you say is when a lot of people apply to college from the same high school, you're in essence really competing against them. I was not aware of that. Can you explain?
Sure. Actually, this is something that a lot of families don't understand or don't know, and that is that you're going to be looked at by your school group, your cohort from everybody applying from your high school to X college, especially at private colleges. You're looked at by a school group. So it's important to really keep focus on what matters most, which is your grades and the courses that are offered at your high school. Take the most challenging courses because you are really competing against people that are right in your classroom.
And speaking again about the high school, you say you can get the school profile information. I didn't even realize that was public, and you can find out where everyone's applying to schools.
So it's the school profile, if you just Google your high school, Bellflower High School school profile, it usually comes up. It's found directly on the website usually. And if it's not, ask the counselor for a copy, and it will give the GPA distribution. It says which honors of APs are offered at that high school, and it gives a list of where students from that high school have been accepted to and are attending. So that gives you that historical data that you need to understand what you need to do as an underclassman to get to your dream college.
Okay, let's move on to thinking about what schools to go to. And let's face it, colleges are so expensive these days. And I know as a parent, one of the first things you look at is the price tag. What's the tuition for that school? And also, what does it take to get in? But you say, don't worry about the tuition, at least for now.
Right. Resist the temptation to look at the sticker price, because even sometimes private colleges can cost less than a public school if the financial aid package comes out just in your favor. So for parents that have seniors right now, you want to apply for Fafsa, and if your teen is applying to private schools, you'll need the CSS profile found on collegeboard.org. And also, it's never too early to look at scholarships and apply for them, because that drives down the piece that you pay, and also helps alleviate those loans. And every parent wants the gift of a free education for their child, and that's one way to do it.
I want to talk about both of those things, FAFSA and the scholarships. Let's get to FAFSA first. And I know there is a deadline, but it really does help you if you apply early.
It opens October 1st, and every state has their own deadline. I have all of this information in the cheat sheet from my website, so you can get all of this and click there. It'll take you to the state's deadline. The CSS profile is a very lengthy and tedious, it's like taxes for college. And so parents want to go ahead and get there and start filling that out. Each college that your teen is applying to will have its own deadline, but I really recommend submitting it by December. The earlier, the better. You're absolutely correct.
Right, and remember, it'll get bounced back to you, folks. Don't worry. Keep going with all the little stuff that you have to do. All right, so let's talk scholarships. I know my kids applied for so many of them and didn't get a lot of them. Where is the best place to find the scholarships that might work for your student?
Well, there's 2 pieces to this, and that is, like anything, you kind of have to get practice and keep going and tweaking your essays to get to land scholarships and get that money. I have a friend who paid his daughter's minimum wage to look and apply, and it was like 1,000% return on investment. So if you could do that, you just have to chip away. My two of my favorite websites are goingmerry.com and niche.com. I also like the scholarship system. Again, these are on the resource guide that I have on my website, so you can get started anytime.
So much helpful information. One of the other things I know you say, which I think is interesting, is be a producer. Don't watch movies, make them during this pandemic. Explain.
You want to be a content producer instead of a content consumer, and that's really what much of us have done during COVID, is just sort of to sit back and watch. And for students, I say, there are many that are not going to be taking the SAT or ACT or don't have access to it at this point. So refocus that time and energy that you would have been studying and become a producer of information and content. Learn how to game, code, program, do good, go to projectgivingkids.org or postcards to voters, do something productive with your time.
Make yourself look good, of course. And one last thing we touched on a little bit last time, but I want to expand on this, and that is really introduce yourself to the colleges. Yes, we want to know that they're interested in you, but they want to know that you want to go there.
Yes, this is one of those key pieces. Now, and I know that families have been out there visiting campuses, even though they don't have official tours, and they've been going onto campuses. And I just say, a couple weeks ago, we talked about, you're right, Tina, you want credit for that. You want to register yourself. You want to make sure that colleges know that you are doing something to say, hey, I really am interested. So you kind of want that gold star every time you sign up for a mailing list, sign up for a webinar, sign up for a virtual tour. You want to make sure that they know that you're interested. And I hate to say it again, but you've got to open those pesky emails and click a couple of times to show your interest, because they are tracking that for sure.
Again, good return on your money and your investment in time. Dr. Colon, thank you so much. This has been so helpful. If you want more information on her college essay workshops, Parent Academy, and other free resources, you can check out drcynthiacolon.com. And of course, we'll have a link on our webpage at WGNTV.com/midday.